You may find it strange, but I have never felt more proud to be on the faculty of the University of Kansas. But it's true. I am proud to be associated with the more than 1,000 people, faculty, staff, and students who have voiced their opposition to the extraordinary and dangerous power the Kansas Board of Regents has extended to the Chancellor. I am proud to be a colleague of all the people, faculty, staff, and students, who have organized to speak loudly and consistently against what they see and perceive as a hurtful and ill-advised reorganization of KU's diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. I am proud to serve each of you, you who have a vision for what KU can and must be. Thank you. I would like to take some time to lay out the view from where I sit. At its January meeting, the Kansas Board of Regents adopted a policy, and I say this with absolute and total conviction, that permits the Chancellor to effectively suspend tenure until 2023. By the terms of the policy, the power granted to the Chancellor is disciplined by only the most minimal procedural safeguards. KBOR passed the policy unanimously, without providing any meaningful opportunity for its constituents, that's us, or those who serve at its pleasure, that would be the provost and the chancellor, without providing an opportunity for us to weigh in. Most of the faculty are rightly frustrated, angry, and concerned. I've heard from you that you worry about the future of KU. I've heard from you that you want to support each other, your students, and the staff, all who we recognize are central to the life of the university and its future. I have heard from you that you feel targeted for problems you did not cause. I have heard from you that you feel silenced and fear for your own positions. I have heard from you that you're angry. I've heard from you much stronger words: precarity, obfuscation, inexcusable, absurd, and if you add a little profanity, you get the gist. You wanted the administration to act quickly and decisively to denounce KBOR's decision. That has not happened. What has happened is this. The chancellor has charged the provost with the difficult task of charting an alternate course to avoid the KBOR power without denouncing it. It's not my role to defend that decision. I won't do that. But I do believe that the chancellor is acting in good faith. I also believe the provost is acting in good faith to carry out that charge. The University Senate President, Sanjay Mishra, and I have spent something like 8 hours over the weekends with the provost on this issue alone. We've put your views on the table, and we have seen Provost Bickelmeyer move in response. To be clear, our role is advocacy and communication. We do not, have not, will not, won't not make unilateral commitments for the faculty or for the faculty or university senates. We don't have that authority, and negotiating with the administration is not the role of governance. Faculty Senate acts on behalf of the faculty to recommend university rules, regulations, and policies, and provides input for university policies that are not within our control. As I communicated to you in January, Faculty Senate opposed the policy passed by KBOR, passing a resolution in which we called on the chancellor to decline to exercise the authority granted to him by KBOR to suspend tenure, and assuring the administration that we are ready to be collaborators in resolving KU's budgetary concerns. This is not our fault, but this is a crisis, and we are beginning to understand that crisis better as the university's financial data is becoming more transparent, though we have a ways to go. Consistent with our commitment to collaborate, I have previewed the suite of strategies the provost is proposing as the alternate course. I've made suggestions of how to involve existing governance mechanisms from the start, and I have seen solid plans for manageable but appropriately representative work groups. I'm convinced these ideas are positive developments if, and this is a big if, they are pursued and implemented with proper faculty, and in some cases staff and student, input and influence. For example, the provost is advancing an already in progress initiative to develop meaningful academic workload policies and academic personnel evaluation policies. These are things that should be good for the faculty. Too often, our labor is distributed inequitably, and those of us who suffer under the burden of outsized and invisible extra obligations have no meaningful way to be credited and recognized for our work. Similarly, we are entitled to meaningful and regular communication about our contributions to the university, and that feedback should tie directly to our prospects for promotion, tenure, job security, and reappointment. And we should get to weigh in regularly on the performance of our chairs, directors, deans, and administrators. I'm comfortable with the idea of making these kinds of processes formal, transparent, and more equitable. And these ideas are in principle entirely consistent with both tenure and academic freedom, central values which cannot be subject to compromise. This is a long way of saying I find the substance of the plan promising. I buy much of its premise, but there is a big open question. If our crisis is budgetary, how will the alternative course described by the provost resolve budgetary issues? This is not yet clear, and I will not guess. We must ask. We also need to know what changes specifically will satisfy KBOR. We have been given a high-stakes test. At a minimum, we should see the grading rubric. And of course, the biggest issue remains. The alternative course is accompanied by the specter of the KBOR policy. No, the administration is not yet creating a framework for exercising the KBOR authority to suspend tenure, but they are asking KBOR to leave the possibility open for a later date. I know that for many of us, this is unacceptable. Many of you feel that this extension serves to do nothing but attenuate your stress. Some of you wonder whether it is designed to undermine meaningful faculty participation under the cover of summer or attrition or exhaustion. And many of you are convinced that our leadership does not understand and value tenure and the ways it is important to every person at the university, and differentially to those of us who maybe because of our identity, or maybe because of our areas of expertise and interest, or maybe because of our activism, are undervalued by market-style thinking and cutting. I appreciate your reactions. They reflect what one of your colleagues helpfully described to me as KU's lack of a network of relationships characterized by respect, trust, sincerity, and transparency. It took us many years to get to this point, and we do not have many years to move away from it. 5 months is certainly not enough. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to ask the provost to create a space, probably not an email, that will provide you with concrete answers to your questions and point you in the direction of more in-depth data. Questions like, what are our specific budget shortfalls and what concrete steps will we take to fill those holes? How much can we rely on endowment? And how will any funds be integrated into our current budget? What steps are we taking to increase enrollment? The answers to many of your questions, I believe, must be the product of shared governance, and I will say so. I'm going to continue as well to insist that governance representatives and governance be fully integrated in to the governance of the university, especially around the KBOR policy response. I'm going to continue to call on your faculty senate to respond quickly and flexibly and carefully when urgent matters arise. But I'm not going to allow the never-ending barrage of new emergencies to detract from our ongoing and important Senate work. In recent meetings with the provost and the chancellor, the University Senate President Sanjay Mishra and I shared that you continue to seek greater transparency from the administration. This is indeed one of your highest priorities. Sanjay pushed for the dependent tuition plan and planning to continue. We reiterated the importance to faculty of a 12-month pay option. We sought continued governance participation in the ongoing CFO search and in all major hiring. We continue to ask questions and share your concerns about DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion issues. I told the chancellor that he needed to advocate for KU and for the KU community to be afforded priority in vaccine distribution. On that note, we were happy and surprised to learn that the chancellor's office has been pushing consistently on our behalf, though unfortunately to no avail. And maybe the most important thing I'm going to do is to ask you to stay in this. Maybe for you, that means barely hanging on. It might be that means focusing on your teaching. Maybe it means advancing your book or your next article or your composition or your design project. Maybe it means taking care of yourself or your loved ones. Maybe it means organizing and advocating and resisting and protesting, demanding that KU be what it promises, demanding that KU hear you and listen. Maybe, and I really hope some of you are up for it, it means working with governance to make sure that whatever happens, it happens with us and not to us. Please send your comments and thoughts and suggestions to govern@ku.edu. Please tell Faculty Senate what you want us to do on your behalf. All of our meetings are open, and we are here to serve you. I am Lua Yule, and I am your Faculty Senate President.